If they don't, they really don't.
And
Weird
yeah,
things happen. I'm
Yeah.
using all these federal tools, and on the federal websites, and there's not anything that yet has worked properly.
true. Sometimes they have buffer zones that you, and firewalls you have to go through.
So you just have to hit end.
All right, good. I can't end it beforehand. I'll ask you to do that. I won't.
Usually.
So you can just put it-
Like that firewall that they don't like you to go through either.
Yes, this is true.
Yeah.
A lot of times, there's a firewall for some of those, and we have to make a change, or they send us another link.
That
You can
is,
just put the laptop in my office.
Okay,
You're done if you don't
yeah,
mind.
very good. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Great.
I found that on some sites that some of them have extra strong firewalls that you can't get around.
Mhm. Yep, that's exactly true. I know all these federal sites are new since COVID. And there was supposed to be one site, all the websites of the federal government for all their grants were supposed to be on one, so they made like a super site. And then it didn't work properly, so everybody went off and made their own. So now we have the super site, and then we have all these other programs too. It's crazy. Every grant is different.
True,
Mhm.
yeah, and some firewalls are stronger than others.
Yep, this is true. All right, since that's on, I turn this off.
That's good.
Hello.
Yeah, I just have it for work, need it here too.
Good idea.
I know, that can heat the place for just a little bit.
Yeah, I turned the heat up, but the doors are open, which
Yeah.
should close, but I want it to be welcoming.
Yeah, it's just fine.
So we've got some interesting grants we can discuss after we
All right.
go over the recycling handout and see how many handouts we want to have. We used to have a lot, but I think people now just want to see something fast, and just a little bit of information.
It's all new to me, so I appreciate paper. I was reading, you sent him an email, I'm looking at my phone, I go, I can't.
No, we always make sure there's copies, because I can't read them off the phone. Sure. I know some people only use their phone or
Yeah.
or their computer, there's no paper and.
Yeah.
I was eager to get my phone email, put on my computer so I can check it there too.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and these numbers totally blew me up, yeah.
Yep, we'll go over all of
I
that.
understand what all means.
We used to have a really robust recycling program until from 1997 to 2001. It sort of didn't do a lot, but Donnie got promoted at the transfer station and I got hired, and our first project was to increase recycling and work on the transfer station, and we had all kinds of action plans, and so our rates skyrocketed, so we had like 77%, and one of the towns in the state of Maine with the highest recycling rate. But after COVID, things really changed, so hardly anyone has a high rate anymore.
Okay.
There's more trash and less recycling. And of
Huh.
course, your rates would go down because newspapers, we used to have a lot.
Oh,
we had
yeah.
Very little,
Yeah.
but everybody has very little.
Yeah, okay.
Things have changed a lot. A lot of people don't recycle, so we wanted to get the
I know
committee.
what's happening. I was just talking to my friend, she said, she's teenage daughter, she said, they're throwing things in plastic because they're too lazy just to come down and put it in recycling, and she's out of her face, kind of freaked me out. I guess I never stopped. Because you just go to transportation.
Hello, come on down. Yeah, we're gonna set up here. Anybody can buy.
Okay, I moved here in 2000. two, spring. of
It's
2000.
wherever,
And that's when we had the curbside.
Wherever you
pickup
feel comfortable.
on It was every 2 weeks, so I appreciated that.
That was really good. It just got so cost
I heard.
prohibitive, and we tried different vendors and people just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
yeah, it
Think we're
is.
ever gonna get spring?
It's spring now, but it doesn't feel it.
A few days.
It doesn't feel it.
So we're gonna be on live stream, just so you know.
Okay.
Zooming, huh?
Zoom is cool.
Yeah, and it's on now, and then at the end of the meeting, we'll just hit the button and that will be it. I'm putting a packet together for both of you.
How are you? Good.
Hi, I'm Ellen.
And Paul.
Hi, Ellen.
Paul.
My name's Eric.
And Eric, yes.
And Ellen, pronounce your last name for me?
Suzuki.
Suzuki.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yes, right.
I never heard.
Polish. Am I right?
Ukrainian,
Oh,
actually.
there we go.
I was wondering if it was Ukrainian,
Yeah.
I was thinking it was either Ukrainian, Russian.
Yeah, the words have changed quite a bit since my grandparents came over.
At least.
Okay.
Plus, we'll recycle what you don't want after the
Training for-
Oh, wow, well, it's not here. Good. So Chris and I gotta write things down.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Paul, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were addressing me. What's that? Okay.
We'll give you a few minutes, probably for Dawn, to read through the minutes if you want to, and look over any of the handouts.
Mhm.
Then we'll start the meeting and introduce ourselves, which is Ron TV.
And I'm gonna run out to get my specs because I left them in,
Oh, cool.
That's always a good thing.
anything closer than 3 feet is a blur.
That's always a good thing to have. Glasses, so you can see.
The statistics are really interesting.
Huh. You want to recycle during COVID? Okay. Probably took the.
All right, no problem. Let's see.
Whatever happened to the recycling bin down by the, down here?
Yeah, so we love that bin. It was wonderful. However, around the time of COVID, we were instructed by the state to haul it out there.
That I was reading here.
Yeah, and just before that, people was throwing all kinds of things.
No, it got
They were-
bad, it got really messy.
Needles even. It just
Oh.
was dangerous.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I need like the glass and I need clear glass and it was overflowing and it was
Mhm.
outside and,
Mhm.
yeah.
It worked out well for many, many years, but for some reason, people started throwing things in there. We put cameras out, we just couldn't catch anybody. Police stations there, you would think they wouldn't do
Yeah.
that, but they did.
I wondered where it disappeared.
Catherine, would it be worth trying it again to see?
We'll talk with Donnie about that.
Okay.
The last time I talked to him, he didn't want to do it. 'Cause
Okay.
there's so many issues. with
Yeah.
that.
There's
Right.
issues and it overflows and they have to take it and I mean, it's
You know,
more.
and then people would be coming down when we took it, it was, we had a regular time to haul it off, but sometimes it would get too filled. You'd have to haul it off sooner,
Yeah,
because then it was creating a problem in the parking lot. And then sometimes it didn't have a lot in it, but we hauled it off anyway, and then people would come and it wasn't there, and it worked well from 2002 up to, I would say about 2019-20, and then it just
Yeah.
just did not work.
I mean, you wonder how we can progress it.
Interesting.
Get people to
I know.
comply with just a small local effort.
Well, one of the things that happened is we had in, 20 through 22, 20, we lost some citizens, places closed down like we did, and the census has most towns and cities with less people, and not everybody got counted either, there were issues with that. But in 2022, we had a massive, number of people moving in from out of state bidding for houses at outrageous prices. For some reason, we were recognized, and it just took every house off the market that you could ever even live in, including a few that you shouldn't, that they did a lot of renovations to. And so all these new people are here, and some recycle and some don't. So that's why we decided the first thing to do was education, once we got reorganized here. And thank you for coming back to the committee. I love it.
We'll see if we can do it. We're not sure how long we can, but we'll give it our best. I mean, it is so important now.
I think if we can come up with names of other people that would volunteer
Yeah.
and start getting ready for the hope that the reuse building will be open, because our reuse district is totally down.
Why is so much?
It would be
That's
nice
right.
when that opens so people could drop off stuff on that need to.
Yes. Yeah, right now, items are going to the transfer station, but there's a few, and if there's a big delivery, Donnie will make arrangements with them and put items in the building. But everything's just in there, and we need to get volunteers to organize it. We used to have a group of senior citizens that was their
Yeah,
major
two of them passed
project.
away.
They were so dedicated,
Yeah.
several of them passed away during COVID and afterwards, which was bad. They treated it like it was their own.
Yeah, Bev Newton was amazing. She was down there all the time. and,
Yes, yes, she was amazing.
She's a good friend.
So we gotta find some other people now.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. I called the schools. I've called and gotten a lot of good feedback, but nothing has transpired.
No, I understand. If you would contact people, I can contact them too. Once we get a regular schedule of meetings, that might be helpful.
Mhm.
And there was interest at Warsaw, the principal, Brian,
Right.
wrote a letter supporting some of our projects, and he was.
That's cool.
Well, there was a
Great.
science teacher he had told me that was interested, but I haven't seen any evidence. And same thing with MCI. I asked Johnny Buys, he was very interested, and he missed the first meeting. I emailed him the agenda and everything last night, but I mean, he might show. After 6 months.
Well, I think a regular schedule of meetings, once we're all here, and anybody that joins us, that will be helpful. And usually groups will meet regularly once a month and then take off maybe July or August.
In the summer. John might have to on duty. That's probably the evening.
Well, Chris, we've got your climate issues on the agenda. So that's, you were exactly right. I remember that years and years ago.
Well, and every day it's now forefront of the news.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this past week to the report on the PFAS and now it's also, I was driving up from Massachusetts yesterday and I was listening to a report of the nanoplastics in the bottled water. And I know either Lexington or Concord or maybe both have, they put up a big fight that they won to get rid of the single-use plastics for like water, I mean, we have a bottle. But yeah,
Well, there is a grant that we can apply for that we'll talk about. We have to join an effort first with the state.
Yeah.
Fill out paperwork
Yeah.
I could have tried to ram it through for the first deadline when I started in January, but we didn't know about it till February. It was due at the beginning of March, and it
Right.
really wouldn't have had
Oh, that
serious
is
input the way it should have. had. It's like a 4 or 5 month process.
Mhm, mhm.
It's a Eclipse picture.
Oh, did you see that?
If
Yeah.
that was what it
Yes,
was.
it's pretty amazing. I use it as a screensaver. I did not take this, a friend who was in
Oh.
Bingham did. Isn't
Wow,
that incredible?
wow, yeah.
And I used it as a screensaver, so the,
Ooh,
you know, the original is this, but when I used it as a screensaver, it really kind of popped
wow.
it. Yeah,
I-
he must have had a good camera.
Actually, where I went for it, I actually went up to Dover.
I was in Dover too.
And I actually watched it, that's the first one that I actually
Yeah.
seen total fatality.
Yes, I was up there with friends. My sister came up to Connecticut and I was just.
Wow, yeah,
Right before
What we didn't-
totality, a rooster started crowing. I was in the country. A rooster started crowing. The goat went in the shed, the chickens went in the coop.
what I didn't like, was the traffic jam after.
Yeah, I know. That's-
Yeah,
Compared to city traffic, it wasn't bad.
yeah,
Yeah, it was, I mean.
Took forever to get home, but
Yeah,
hey,
it's worth it.
it was. I think that would be a question here.
I was just looking it over.
So it looked like.
Catherine, how many volunteers would you say would be needed for the recycle, for the reuse center? I know before there were like 4 to 6.
They always wanted a couple of more. However, when they were together, they worked as a team, so it worked out. So that number would be fine.
We need more because it's like, I'll work one Saturday a month, but I'm not gonna work every Saturday.
Oh, right, no,
So we really, if we had a bigger pool, it wouldn't be as much of a commitment.
Yeah, it would be good if we started out small, not open all the time. And then people get interested and come, and then you start getting more volunteers, then you get your big base.
Yeah, well, it was open before on Saturdays, what was it, 10 to 4 or something, which was
I
very.
think it was
reasonable,
10
but
before.
I wasn't volunteering, so I shouldn't say that, but I certainly was using it. Like bringing things in that time period and.
Oh, yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
a great,
Nice to
it's a
have.
great resource. Oh, yeah.
I've just been to it.
Catherine, did you finish that? Did you ever read that book, Buy Nothing, Get Everything?
I
Concept?
skimmed it. I have it upstairs.
Yeah, it's really good.
It was
I've heard
interesting.
good things about the reviews building.
I mean, the people that started it, I mean, to the point where they would save like one sock, one glove, if you lost one mitten. And then you take them all at the end of the year and send it to Tibet.
Let's see how they do it.
People don't
But
care.
they have more hours if they're open.
They just
they
need
care.
protection, you know,
On this one.
but we think, oh, well, we'll lose something and throw it away.
Why?
I don't. I'll always
Right,
lose a
well-
glove, and I've got different colored gloves.
Hey, it works.
Yeah, they keep you warm,
Mhm,
and why waste them?
exactly.
And I heard it.
That's a question for Donnie. I'm wondering about the metal.
Any building that's
The
been
metal
closed for
roof.
that amount of time,
Yeah,
even if the storm.
They'd like to do a metal roof on the reuse building, you think?
regular.
a metal roof on the reuse
Yeah, I was
It would be a
always-
metal roof.
I'm wondering if we could find,
Always in my
my
place,
brother
they'll
helped me
open
get
up when it's warm, you're
recycled
all
metal
that
roof
heat.
into our house.
Yeah.
Old clothes when
I'm
it's.
wondering if
when
we
it's
could
too cold to
find,
be here.
Donnie
Yeah.
might know of somebody. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah, he said he had
I
some
can
volunteers to do the other work underneath the roof, so that we can make sure it's airtight,
Right.
so we don't have little critters.
Yeah, and that would be enough for a building that size, it would be enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a number of builders that are coming forward. It used to be hard to find somebody. Now there's a few new families that do this work. We would put the metal roof out to bid and,
Mhm.
or get quotations depending on the cost. So we'll wait a few more minutes for Donnie. And since we're on live, we'll probably read through the categories so people know, what we recycle and everything, so we can get some information out.
Oh, I didn't know there was something on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Not for the one side. Cool.
Oh, this was the information when we had the, recycling here. Cause it talks about putting your glass bottles and plastic bag and putting it in the cans department, that's when we had that one.
One thing I will say is make sure whatever goes down into the wood pile doesn't have nails in it,
Oh, yeah.
because a few people have drove in there and got a flat tire, because of it.
Oh, the transfer station?
Yeah,
They must have hit it pretty hard. I was gonna say, I think you kind of slow there, avoiding miles, but you're right, there's
there's,
a lot.
yeah, that's the only
Yeah,
thing that I would suggest is make sure the wood that goes down in it doesn't have nails in it. Or,
oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
yeah, otherwise the next person that backs in there is getting it for, flat tires. If you're lucky,
What about that, no,
maybe you're lucky and you will get one flat tire, but hopefully none.
That's an interesting point. I wonder when they chip it. Whatever's machinery that's used for chipping all of that must go through all of those pieces of metal
yeah.
and
'cause you
brackets
bring
and
your scrap
nails
numbers.
that doesn't damage the machinery.
I'm surprised.
And
Yeah,
because you're right, I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a briar patch.
yeah,
And I've seen stuff down there that's
yeah, that's why I'm saying.
not
that,
huge waste metal or rebar or anything,
Yeah.
but
No, I've seen
tons of
some
nails.
pieces of, boys off sides of houses that, or wherever it came from,
Mhm.
that came in and just got thrown in there, next person that backed in there.
Yeah,
See the nail, backed over it, and
that's rough.
flat tire.
Not a good thing. I
And
always stay a safe distance from whatever's been dumped there, but you never know. Could be something just randomly out
yeah,
on the pad that's
yeah,
presents a hazard.
yeah, I know, because I don't know anybody personally, but I used to know somebody that used to back in there with. From one of the agencies around here that used to take all the junk from somewhere and. He was the one that tried it in with that nails.
Community.
There was somebody else that had through.
Say that again?
The,
This resilience partnership.
Yeah.
Things
Well,
that
should be
had nails in it,
interesting. I
and
guess
I-
we will
he was
continue
done
to-
lucky.
Yeah, I didn't get a
Back
clear
onto a nail.
understanding of that from the notes that we
Luckily, the tire was good,
had on this meeting.
but the next morning,
Yeah,
Oh,
there you go.
Catherine
It was a little later, huh?
mentioned it.
actually, it's flat tire.
Yeah, okay.
And they didn't have it fixed flat either, the big.
The result, oh, right here. Some instruction.
That's why I said something to the effect of,
This would be an afternoon
Somebody
project, but
should-
it would be an interesting one to do.
check that more, to make sure.
What is
people
that?
don't have.
Oh, this
Well,
calls-
That's
Need to say
Resilience
these words,
partnership.
maybe go down there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that's it.
I think they used to be a little
Oh, I
note right on the,
Logical vehicles.
when you back in,
Vehicles, yeah.
wood with nails is not allowed.
Oh, this-
I think down there, they used to have a sign beside it and that said. Clean wood only, no
Okay.
nails.
No, I,
I don't remember if it did, but I'm pretty sure there was a sign there. That
Wow, this
said,
is really comprehensive.
That's good though, we need, it. that's
only
what
wood that doesn't have
we're gonna
nails,
be facing.
yeah. But. I could be wrong about that too,
That's an anti-idling ordinance, oh, that ought to go over like a.
could be wrong,
Mhm.
I can't
but that is. a good idea.
countenance people that just like, we know of,
Or
and
sit back in there and get a flat
leave the
tire.
vehicle sitting in the drive
Mhm.
with the motor on and walk away.
Mhm. And we're doing the best we can to pollute the air.
I wonder if they don't think it's insignificant compared to the mass of what comes out of jet
Oh,
propulsion and all the
no,
other
it's a different thing,
industry.
but it's all related. It's all related.
I was unable to reach Donnie. I left him a message, something may have happened in the event it is due in Detroit, where he's the fire chief or
Actually.
something at the transfer station.
Oh, goodness.
So we'll start a meeting and hopefully he'll be able to attend. So this is our recycling committee meeting, our second meeting of the reorganized recycling committee. It is Thursday, April 11th. We're starting about 6:19, a little bit late, but gave us an opportunity for everybody to read through the different documents and get updated. And so we're gonna go around and introduce ourselves, and just talk a little bit about yourself and why you're on the committee. And I'm Catherine Ruth, the grant administrator, former town manager, and I'll be working on some grants and assisting the committee. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ellen Suzuki. I've lived in town for 22 years and I've always recycled and I would like the reuse center up and running. I kept things still for the reuse center whenever it opens up again, so I think it's important.
Eric Goodcross, I believe in recycling and I wish everywhere would recycle everything.
I'm Paul Faria. We've lived here in Pittsfield for 42 years now and in the same place and have been involved in various committees throughout our time here, from everything from a haunted house committee for Halloween to the Arts and Culture Committee and the Theater Committee and this committee and the trails, building and all that was kept us really involved and interested. And as far as recycling, I'm a bit OCD and I save all kinds of plastic things if it doesn't get recycled, it's a disappointment, time waste, but it's hard to let go of it, for my purposes. Once I did do a sort of a self-study collection of things that normally would be part of our waste stream. And I filled a section of our garage with things that we would normally dispose of, that's mostly packaging in all the different categories, and I couldn't believe the volume that 2 people or 3 people at the time produced in a month.
Yeah.
It was just enormous. It was, so deep, and we've managed to control that a bit. Anyway, that's my interest angle in being here today.
I'm Chris Faria, and like Paul said, we've been here for 40+ years, and I think my coming to recycling and to the committee was, I was a travel agent for 45 years, and I've done a lot of traveling around the world, and I've seen what people do. I've seen a lot of, horrible, waste dumps and the way some people have to live, and just what we throw away in a day. I mean, it could help a nation one way or the other, but the plastics, I think over the last 20 years at least, since the whole thing about climate has been introduced, is that it's become even more of a vital necessity to get on board and get more people and everybody. This place should be packed. With the news that's coming down as far as recycling and climate, it's really, really important, and the air we breathe. And so it's up to us to do it, and that's why I'm here, so.
Well, very good. Thank you all good reasons to be on the recycling committee. And as a brief history, the recycling committee formed in 2002. There was one prior to that, from 1997 up, where our former mayor, Tim Nichols, worked on recycling. Everything was reformatted and reformed in 2002 with some action plans to increase recycling, with the promotion of Don Shute from a staff person to the recycling transportation coordinator, and my hire as town manager. Our first actions, as requested by the council and the DEP, was to work on that transfer station, our old landfill, and our recycling and reuse programs and everything. So we took care of the issues at the transfer station in 2002, 2003, but went beyond what was required for recycling and got into all the different items that you could recycle, set up all a variety of programs. Eventually the reuse building was donated to the town by the American Legion, which was wonderful reuse program. An informal composting program through one of our local farms. And then the last project we were working on as COVID came in and committees all shut down and we lost volunteers, was a food waste programs, because food waste is very heavy. There's so much material at the schools, at some of the restaurants in town, and at other facilities, and a little bit is diverted to some of the farms, but there's so much more that could be done. And so that's an area that we'd like to start out. And Don Shute has such amazing background and information and knowledge and everything. And so hopefully he'll be able to join us. But that's just a little bit of background. The recycling committee, as well as the reuse building, shut down in 2002 during COVID. Unfortunately, we lost a number of our members who were on the reuse volunteer staff, who did a magnificent job running the facility. Several passed away during COVID and afterwards. And so recycling is something that we need to bring back and focus more on. A lot of people recycle and do a wonderful job. When I go to the transfer station, 8 out of 10 people will be recycling, but 2 aren't. And things are getting thrown away that shouldn't be. And we need to help save the environment and cut down our costs for waste disposal. It's expensive, and we'll see in a few minutes how expensive it has been. So let's go look at the agenda. We've done our introductions, and we have old business as the next category. We're going to look over available statistics from the state on recycling rates. That was on our agenda last month at a meeting on March 13th. Those statistics were not available on the website. All I found on the website was the form, a very lengthy form that Don Shute fills out every 2 years now. We used to fill it out every year, but the state, due to cutbacks, decided to get the statistics for the towns and their recycling rates every 2 years. The one employee that DEP has that handles this was just out of the office for a long period of time. So we went and did our own statistics. And so You have a copy of the spreadsheet in front of you. I sent out the draft one in the email, and this one I went through and put some statistics and added up the columns and everything. And so I'm gonna give you some, overview, once I just read off the categories, so citizens that are watching or tune in later on can see what we recycle. We have an overall category called municipal solid waste. That's everything that is disposed of at a facility. And we go to, we used to go to PERC and now we go to waste management. We have demolition called demo, tires, wood chips, metal, universal waste, which are items such as light bulbs and fixtures that need to be disposed of properly. HHW is household hazardous waste from a program that we have every October. Leachate is saved out from the compactor. Waste oil is saved out and taken to recycling. We also recycle cardboard, newspaper, white paper, which is also mixed in envelopes and all of your junk mail, which is coming back, by the way. Number 2, plastics, which are a certain type that are kept out separate from 1 to 7, excluding 2. Glass, tin cans, lead batteries, pallets, compost and leaves, textiles and reuse. That is items that are put up at the facility now because the reuse center is not open. Those items that people bring by to the recycling office that they say want to save out for somebody. We put them out in front of the office and other people will come and take them, which is a great spot system. Electronics. And so those are the major categories. And so in total, on the spreadsheet, we have 6,254 units that were recycled or disposed of in another manner in 2023. And so to divide that up a little bit, because there are a couple of categories with gallons, we need to subtract those out so we get to the true tons. So of that 6,254 on the right-hand corner of the spreadsheet, you have 1,200 gallons of leachate, so I subtracted those out of the units. 1,210, 1210 gallons of waste oil subtracted out. That leaves you with the true tonnages that we had for everything of 3,843, rounded up to 3,844 tons in total. And then municipal solid waste disposal, and those is what is considered garbage that is taken to waste management and buried because it can't be recycled, or if there are recycles in them, they're hidden in the bags. That is 2,134 tons rounded up. So that leaves us with 1,710 tons of recycled materials. And from that, the tires are subtracted out when we figure out how much we've saved on disposal fees, because the tires are paid for at a different rate, but still they are recycled. Wood chips are recycled, so we subtract those out. The tires were 40.95 tons. The wood chips were 233.48 tons. And then demo is also subtracted out because that is disposed of at a facility at a different rate. So that leaves us with true recycling that is accounted for of 1,145 tons. And so that is a material that's recycled and sold. And these are the items that if we had left them in the waste stream and taken them to the landfill at a rate of $76.15 per ton, would have cost the town an additional $87,192. So that's all savings. And beyond that is also savings from the materials that we sell. Some items have a high rate, some have a low rate. And at the next meeting, we'll put together the budget and everything that shows how much we spent to recycle and how much we got in for revenue, plus this avoided fee. So right now, it's very easy to calculate the avoided cost by recycling, which is $87,192 in 2023. So that's very good. And then at the next meeting, we'll have the recycling expenses and revenues from the 2023 budget with all the accounts receivable and payables and everything. And then we'll figure out the true cost of recycling of what we saved. So any questions on that spreadsheet?
I have a good question.
Yes.
What is leachate?
Yeah, leachate is the material that comes out of the bottom of the compactors. It's when the materials go into what's called a hopper and you throw in your trash. It's compacted up and this material that comes out, a liquid that comes out at the bottom, which is the leachate. And so that is transported away and is subtracted out because it's in gallons.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And the waste oil is recycled, as we get cans and bottles of that, it's taken over to Skowhegan, which has a facility. And I didn't ask if you had any questions on the meeting minutes, if you had a chance to look those over, those are fine. Oh, good, so it gives us a basic background. Just so you can see the form that Donnie fills out every 2 years and how complex it is. It used to be easy, but everything gets more complicated and there's more paper over time. But I'll pass that around to 5-page form in which you can see how they figure out the recycling rate. So I'll just pass that around to everybody. All right, so that gives us an idea of what we recycled, and once Donnie can put all the figures together, I'll do the budget part and he'll do the calculations for the tonnages. We'll know what our rate is. Right now, I figure out, I know what it is, but I'd like to have him check it over. So if there's no questions, we'll go on to part 3, new business. And we discussed these items at the last meeting, but we're bringing back items now to go over. So the first item is after 20 years of reduce, reuse, and recycle, where do we go from here? And so we discussed at the last meeting, a few grant opportunities and updating our materials. The town used to have a full array of recycling materials we use and everything, but it's best now with how busy people are just to have 2 or 3 documents. So the first and the document that got updated for this meeting is the little brochure that we give out. This is probably the best one for people. And then there's a couple of others that we probably have to do too. So we were to bring this back to the meeting so you could go over it if you wanted any changes. And so this would be a trifold once it's done. And of course, the most important part that everybody looks at is the little box in the middle of it. But I made a variety of changes to this, updated the different resources that we have, and we'll go through them at the meeting, updated the statistics, updated the resources that we send people to on the internet, and updated the categories a little bit. And we'll want Donnie to go through and make sure that the categories are all the same and the directions are the same. And so starting on the page that has the picture, color picture, everybody. On the left-hand side are recycling and reuse resources. And so, of course, the Pittsfield Transfer Station on Pelhoma Avenue, open on Tuesdays through Saturdays, 8 to 6 is a great resource, and that's where the recycling center is. We took off the recycling container because it's unlikely it's coming back to the municipal yard, which it was, and it was great for the seniors and everything, but unfortunately, people just at the time of COVID threw things in the container that made it unsafe for people to work on, and including needles from drugs and everything. I don't know why anyone would do that, especially in a police station yard where there were cameras, but nobody was caught or seen doing it. And they threw other things in there too, which are unmentionable. So that's unfortunate because a lot of the seniors love that, the people in the neighborhood. People are actually come through that went to work and bring their recycling, you know. I remember being at work really early in the morning, like 5, and people are out throwing things in their recycling, which was great.
It's very convenient.
It was very handy. But I took that off, updated the food pantry with the phone number and the time, and it's open one day now, a week, not two. Snake Root Organic Farmer is still taking materials, leaves and grass clippings, no brush. Pennywise, is still taking items, and in fact, they're flourishing now. All items aren't put in that back shed anymore, they're put on the porch, right up front, because they've got a nice big porch now. And we've got contacts out to, MCI drama program and the Elks Lodge to update the list to see if they're still taking all those items. And the Elks Lodge is not taking used ink and toner cartridges anymore, but they're checking on the cell phones. So we'll have information shortly on that. In the middle part are the resources to check out. And of course, we put the town's website, www.pittsfield.org. We'll have some recycling facts updated and reuse tips. We'll have a couple more handouts that'll be on there. There is a www.freecycle.org, and I was impressed. This is still going great. It's the same exact information, nothing changed, so that was really good. So that's a network that people can sign up for a group, and then they get on and trade things and swap stuff. And we had a number of people doing that here in town. There is www.thedma.org. This is a entity associated with the government, which will remove your name from junk mail advertising. And they used to have several options. It cost $1 to do it because of the stamps, but now it's free. It's all online. And instead of taking you off for 5 years, it's 10 years. Your name's supposed to be off all the junk mail lists. So that might be something to try out again. www.epa.gov. It's another entity of the federal government. And there is an amazing number of resources there. I could not believe how much was available. We used to list all the brochures, but now I just wrote to go to that website and in the search box, just put in recycling books, and I got all kinds of pamphlets and handouts and everything that people can get on any subject. It was great. And then they can pick out what they want, print out or look at it. And the last one that was listed, and I'm not sure we should list this anymore, but www.techsoup.org. This used to be where you could donate your computers and make arrangements and everything. It was a nonprofit, but now it's a nonprofit tech website that makes offers and sells different items. I'm not sure we should list that. It's selling computers and technology at reduced rates. I would assume these are the items that they fix and then resell. So you can think about that. Now, the big part is in 2023, the citizens and business of Pittsfield recycled the following, and I'm going to, although you have this in front of you for the audience, I'm going to read it off because it is pretty impressive, although we've talked about how it's gone down a bit, and it has in many towns for recycling rates. But 267 tons of cardboard were recycled in 2023, 75 tons of compost, 26 tons of electronics, 68 tons of glass, 5 tons of the household hazardous waste, which are the chemicals and pesticides people have at their homes that they can dispose of free of charge one day in October on a Saturday when we're in a cooperative with the Kennebec Valley Council of Governments and pay for a portion of the cost amongst a number of towns to dispose of the items. And it does save a lot of money. 18 tons of lead batteries, 364 tons of metal. So that was good. 21 tons of newspaper, way down, but then again, we don't have many newspapers anymore, or most people read it online. 60 tons of pallets, 44 tons of plastic, 93 tons of reuse and textiles. And for the audience, there was a box for clothing, linens, blankets, and items that people no longer use at the transfer station. And this is very helpful because it goes, to a company that then recycles it, and sends it to different countries, or makes it into items again.
Catherine, is that wearable things? It's not like rags, or reprocessing rags or fiber.
Clean rags.
It does,
Yeah, you could put clean rags, clothing, bedding, linens.
I was thinking of things that are no longer wearable or just, yeah, clean
I think those
materials.
could go in there because they would sort them out
Yes.
later on, and
Yeah.
some
They go
will be
through that.
reused and some will get packaged up to be either sent.
We don't do that as a town. Do we use textiles?
It's called it's called a category of textiles because it's got the different items in it, but they're not true textiles.
Oh, okay,
It's just it's a category that the state uses.
all right.
Yeah, I know what you think of, but.
Didn't Huhtamaki used to take large volumes of things like that at one time and then
Many
they
years
stopped
ago,
or
they
something?
did. Yeah, and we used to go to Lewiston, they would come and pick things up, we would transport things up to the shelters in Bangor. We, used to dispose of items a whole number of ways that were still reusable. We suggest that the reusable items that can be saved go to Pennywise.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I believe Goodwill will take things that, the rags that cannot be used and they do their thing.
That's a good point to
Yeah,
know.
that's a good one too.
There's also, Catherine, just to throw it out there, and we might want to put it in, is that the animal shelters will take,
Oh,
you know,
That's
pillows, towels, I mean.
Sleeping bags.
Yeah, old things that would probably be thrown out.
Studying water will need them too.
yes,
Right.
that's what we were
Humane,
saying.
yeah.
Skowhegan does,
I-
there's also another thing that I don't know if any, you know, but I think it could be mentioned is there's an organization called Partners in World Health in Portland area that will take, medications, depends, medical supplies that people can't use. Even if there's somewhat, you know, near expiration date, they put them on pallets that day and fly them like to Haiti, to whatever. But they get this stuff, if it's medication that's sitting on a shelf or somebody passes away and they have all this stuff that they can't use, they will take it to other countries.
Oh, that's a good,
Really.
Things that hospitals and other care facilities cannot accept
taken
under the
bunches.
law. And, you know, just
No, these
unless
are
you know
good.
somebody nearby in the community that's shorthanded on that material of
And
particular.
Doctors Without
Durable
Borders is one of
medical
the
equipment.
biggest.
no, these are good points. Animal shelters, definitely, we can, call around. We go to one, but there's another one close by.
Sure, there's one in
The
Somerset.
Goodwill, we can check on that. I know that Newport was overflowing with items, so they had to put some requirements in place at one point.
The Salvation Army is up there now in Newport.
Pardon?
The Salvation Army is up in Newport now.
All right, well, these are all great. We can get phone numbers for some,
Mhm.
and some, I'm sure they'll let us put information on here about them. All right, great, that's good. There are a lot of resources, definitely.
A quick side note to that is there is going to be, Partners for World Health is holding on Monday, April 22nd, at UNE and USM, celebrating their 15th anniversary. I'm trying to see if this is online. Edna Aden Ismail, A Life of Firsts. And she's a nurse, midwife, activist, and director and founder of the Edna Aden Maternity Hospital in Hargeisa, Somaliland. A global champion and pioneer in the struggle for the abolition of mutilation and other practices, but other accomplishments include serving as the World Health Organization's regional technical officer for mother and child health in Somaliland. Is it online?
We could always send a link to them.
It's at Glickman Library, 7th floor, Monday, April 22nd, 10 a.m. But I can forward this to you if you wish,
All right, that would be
just
great.
to see it rather than bore everyone here.
No, that would be excellent, and we should also put on here, the prescription pill pickup. You know, we have the box here,
That's important.
and when we do the household hazardous waste, event, they also take the prescriptions that aren't used anymore.
Mhm. Catherine, on that, hazardous waste, event in October, is that when they also do the paint?
Yes, that would include the paint.
Okay, that's enough. Yeah, that was very helpful.
That is a great event. We save a lot of money. If you do it by yourself, it's like 4 times as expensive.
Right.
But when they come in as a contract with KB Cog, some of it's financed, through a grant, but the rest is split between all the towns. All right,
That Partners for World Health has quite an extensive warehouse there in Portland. I brought a truckload of used, not used, but new, unused durable medical equipment there. And it weighed in at more than 275 pounds of materials, and the place was filled just
That's
with
amazing.
rack after rack of all
all
of
right,
things
well,
that they
that's-
were
that's
moving
quite
on
interesting.
to other.
Well, and it shows how
countries.
much we have as a nation, and that even like the bin upstairs to throw scripts in. These people will take those scripts and get them to countries that can use them. It's amazing, you know.
Well, on the equipment, I mean, if you buy these things new, it's horrendous, even with insurance, so.
Oh, yeah.
If there was something that could be reused
Mhm.
and somebody knew about it, that would be good.
Absolutely.
That would be great. All right, so that's page 1. On page 2, you've got all the other side, you've got all the categories. I took everything off about the trailer, I believe.
Mhm.
And then, our categories for corrugated cardboard. I'm not gonna read through all this.
I do have one question. I've been told that anything that has a waxy coating, like milk boxes or containers of juice, they are not recyclable. So I mean, I don't know.
That would be correct. So let's
They
add.
don't take that. Because I'm always going, can you take this? No.
I know.
Why do people still recycle it then?
Yeah, they just don't.
They
know.
all do, because the real, the people that recycle a lot really can go overboard. Yes, 'cause I'm trying to recycle stuff like this and you
Okay,
can't.
yeah, so no.
I know, it's like-
I went online to find out how to upcycle things like that, like coffee bags. You have ground coffee, you have coffee beans, it comes in a sealable bag, resealable bag. They're almost indestructible. You can't open them if you're over 50 years old. I can't open a candy wrapper at my age, but these things, and they had so many ideas for upcycling. Of course, the first thing you're connected to is Pinterest, where there are zillions of ideas on all kinds of stuff, but, and for whatever it's worth, who's gonna sit down, you know, if there was a location that you could route this stuff to, it would be still such an improvement. I'm sorry about anecdotal.
That's okay.
I pulled through a toll gate coming up from Route 295 at Gardner. And the woman's there, she's doing something, and she's took the toll, there wasn't any traffic, so I stopped and said, what are you weaving? She's taking plastic bags and she was weaving,
Oh, yes, you can use.
what do you
that.
call them? Tote bags
Or
out of the
okay.
plastic bag. She was crocheting that by hand, just like hooking a rug. Amazing way to develop
Yeah,
stuff like that.
there's a lot that there's a lot that can be done, for sure. So I will talk with Donnie about what we need to add. He's gonna look this over anyway,
Okay.
on the corrugated cardboard part. Because yes, we do try to recycle the milk containers and we can't, and the juice containers, and it's true. And people, he noted at the last meeting, people are adamant that they can recycle styrofoam. It would be nice if we could,
No.
but they can't.
Rubber.
There was an artist that carved it,
Yeah.
used to carve it,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
again, that's a limited, very limited.
And we'll talk a little bit
Output.
about this up recycling too. Newspaper category, so we've got a category there.
I suggest you take off telephone books. It's been years since I've gotten a telephone book.
There actually are.
They are?
There actually were telephone books up at the
Mhm.
recycling.
Okay,
Several
yeah, I
times.
mean, I love telephone books. I mourned it when I wasn't getting it, but nobody has them.
I actually have some in my house, but probably I should clean them up.
Okay, all right, for anybody holding out other telephone books, okay.
I didn't
I'm
know.
just thinking anybody of a younger generation will say a what?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Is that a, put your phone on?
Okay.
So we've got white and mixed paper, so let's go through here. We don't have a computer paper with lines, but we do see it once in a while.
I didn't know we could do construction paper.
Yes, there is construction.
Oh.
paper.
Oh, put it
Post-it
in.
notes, yeah. All the envelopes, fax paper, we don't see much of that. Legal pad paper, color paper. So almost any type of paper that you have all goes together now. It is broken down. Donnie called it white paper, but I believe it has all these colors in it too. Glass bottles and jars category. And yes, we did reuse it and crush it up and put it under some of the roads, and it worked really well at the transfer station.
Oh,
But the road used to wash out all the time, and this took care of the problem.
Cool.
I think all that information I'll refer to when we had the unit back here, because
Okay. yeah.
Because there's the bottle and transfer station, there's a place for cans and there's a place for glass, all that doesn't really pertain.
Yeah, no, you're correct. All right,
That's a
we'll get
cool
rid of
usage
that.
for it too. Crush it up and put it in road.
It actually works, good.
That's cool.
All right, metal cans category, let's look at that. That's all the types of cans, aluminum, tin, other containers. Cooking metal pots and pans. I haven't seen those for a long time, but they
Oh,
still are metal.
I see.
We've got plastics category.
And my understanding of that is it varies as far as what numbers are accepted, but they said put them in because it
Mhm.
changes.
They change, some of the manufacturers put different numbers on there, even on people trying to, as Donnie explained to us, and this is true, on the styrofoam, people put these numbers, and so people
Yes.
thought they could recycle them. but
Yeah,
they
the
can't.
more the hard pressed,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm. So we especially do like the hard rigid containers because those are easy to recycle and you get a higher price for them. But they also, you don't want people putting them in garbage bags because they never disintegrate basically once they go into the waste landfill. All right, and then it's got a no plastic bags. It would be nice to see plastic bags, but they're, to use for some things, but we don't see them very often now.
I wish we had them more at the supermarket still.
They
Sometimes.
They actually have their supply that they use for trash can for their waste basket, but no, we can't give them out anymore.
I hate to say it, but when I travel visiting family in other parts of the country, I have them give me all their Walmart plastic bags and everything, and I know it's bad, but otherwise I'd be buying plastic bags,
Yeah.
so. I go to Ford, they give me some, I just use one little bag.
Just use
I know, paper,
Recycle.
we use the paper bags,
Mhm.
garbage.
I'm getting used to using reusable bags, but it's
Yeah,
just
the
one of
garbage
those
is
things that.
still an issue.
I
Yeah.
don't know if anybody has seen, I saw the first one yesterday and they do a really slick job, but the plastics, US Plastics Corporation is now putting ads on about how they're doing to recycle and whatever. And it comes right after that report about the nanoplastics in the water and how they're really polluting.
I know.
So I don't think there's any safe plastic out there.
I don't think there is either. Yeah, this is true.
It's really interesting.
All right, universal waste category. So these are items that have mercury in them, like the lamps and the bulbs, thermostats, mercury switches. And the computer electronics for the computers, we get tons of those, keyboards, mouses. They drop off microwaves, TVs, a lot of TVs. In fact, they had hauled out one of the largest TVs I'd ever seen was in the reuse building on Saturday, and I thought, how can you get rid of that? But somebody will get it.
One of the old fashioned tube TVs probably.
I had one of those, yeah.
Me too.
So all of the TVs, VCRs, and these items, can't be picked up by the contractors, that is true, so that's why people bring them to the transfer station.
Find it. VCR. Can't give that to
I'm
her.
hoarding some.
So the next category is compost pile. And so these go to Snake Root Farm still, and he's got directions up on that. And we may put a little bit more information in there. It's leaves and glass clippings, no brush. We have the recycling category of batteries. So all batteries can be recycled, including rechargeable batteries and car, truck, lead, acid batteries. And again, these can't be put into your trash that's picked up by your contractor, because that's not legal for them to have it. Although I'm sure some people do it, but these items should not, batteries should not be put into, the trash.
Well, my understanding is only the rechargeable batteries that need to be recycled and the rest, I've been told, is put in the trash. The normal, regular ones, but if they're rechargeable, yes, they need to be disposed of properly.
Alkaline, don't,
They've all
alkaline
been
just go in
mixed
the.
together. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been told just throw it in the trash.
No.
we've been able to recycle them. They're usually all mixed together.
Huh? And I don't.
Yeah, I was handed them over, and it's just leave it right here.
And
They put it in the office,
Recycle.
so I'm thinking, I don't know.
If you have a special charger, you can regenerate, your, alkaline batteries too, reuse them.
Mhm. Well, the cost of batteries now.
I know.
I can't believe 2 little batteries, $9.
I know.
We want to recharge anything like that. All right, waste oil, that again, people can't put that in with their trash and have their contractor pick it up. It's brought directly to the transfer station, and, we accept it in containers of 2.5 gallons or less. And oil can not have water or antifreeze in it, it's not supposed to, because it contaminates it. The waste oil is all collected up by the transfer station several times a year, taken to Skowhegan, that has a proper facility for disposal. So there are a variety of other items that are, taken to the transfer station, demo debris, which is, debris from construction, ashes, from people's stoves, which should not be hot, because we had a few fires at the transfer station over the years. Inert material, which is, the items that are dropped off at the little, facility right before the transfer station. It has the little road on the right-hand side, that would be like tar, pieces of pavement, concrete and stuff. That's called inert material. Contractors usually have that. Clean wood and brush is taken, and the brush that's brought to the brush pile should be clean wood and, clean brush. Shouldn't be demo debris or other things in there.
Or anything with nails.
That would be best, but unfortunately it does have nails in it, yeah, but it's better if that doesn't. Bulky waste, which are the refrigerators, the couches and, different items like that. They have
That's cool, you can get rid of a refrigerator up there, good, not everywhere it does.
Mhm. Yeah, we have a lot of refrigerators and stoves. Tires, are recycled, has a location. And then, let's see, it says, and asphalt or fiberglass shingles. Or any other, yeah, because that is, asphalt can be in with the demo debris stuff. And then there's a section about the wood pile, which I should say open, because it's now open.
It is open already?
Yes, it got open early.
It's been.
Yeah, because
Now
of
it's
trees have come
Wow,
down.
yay.
how we've had 5 or 6 winters and summers now.
Right.
Springs. So the wood pile is now open, and, I changed it around, be open till late November, early December, depends on the weather.
Right.
Safe access going to the wood pile area. And so when it's going to be early in the spring, and we don't know if it's open or it's going to be later in the winter, people really should call ahead before they load up and head up and find it's, the door, the facility gate is not open because you can't get in and out of it.
Right, if we've had heavy rain, they can't.
Exactly. And with the crazy weather, you just never know. The climate changes. So I left in the reuse facility and put currently closed due to damage and the need for volunteers. We can rewrite this if you want. So the town has applied for grant funds to reopen. If you would like to volunteer at the facility, please contact the town office with a number, or the transfer station with their number. if you have items to donate, contact the transfer station. So, I might wanna put a line in there too about not dropping things off at the reuse center and leaving them outside.
Yeah,
That
it's
happens
a little
often.
confusing because it's currently closed due to damage to need for volunteers, but it doesn't say what it is, so it's the Trash to Treasure Reuse Center that is currently closed.
Right,
And
The
maybe
first
reverse
paragraph,
that.
and I wasn't sure what it was referring to.
okay, I can put the title up at the top.
I was gonna say, maybe just switch that
Yeah,
over.
I'll
Yeah.
put the title up to the top, currently closed due to damage and the need for volunteers.
But, yeah, when it's open, so they don't think. they
Yeah,
can
I did
start
wanna
doing
leave the information about when it's usually open, because when we
Right.
open it up, it'll probably be that way for a
Yeah.
while until there's more volunteers
Right.
and you start adding on days.
Yep. Yep,
Okay,
reuse center currently closed due to
Yeah.
the, but when we get it open again.
yeah, so that'll be good. So I'll make these changes, give this to Donnie so he can make any changes he wants and then send it out to you all. Looking at Goodwill to see if they will let us put them on here. The animal shelters, I think definitely will.
I don't think they would have a problem, having their name on.
Sometimes facilities don't want their names on because they get too much material.
It,
And so that one's kind of iffy. We'll ask them as well as Salvation Army. And if they say yes, that's good.
right,
But I'm sure the animal shelter definitely will.
yeah, I know Waterville needs lots of towels and
Mhm.
stuff to clean up.
Oh, linens,
For the
anything
dog.
about,
Yeah.
okay, cushions, pillows, anything. I
Yeah, all
was
of them.
Oh,
surprised.
good idea, the pillows. I was just reading about how to recycle your pillows and what to use them for.
They cut them up with them, use them in the.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, because I said, I can't just get rid of it, I can't put it in the landfill.
No,
Don't ever try to wash it down till it explodes.
Okay, thank you for that advice.
I've seen it
Yes.
explode at a
Okay.
washing.
Here you
know,
go.
come
Because I
out of
knew
the
about,
washing machine.
old worn out blankets and towels and things.
Sleeping
I've been
bags.
donating those, but I never thought of the pillows. Thank you.
like outside furniture, pillows and stuff that would normally,
Yeah,
even if there's holes, I mean, they're pretty rough, but they take everything.
that's right, it's great
They
work
take
there.
everything.
Yeah, this is good.
Yeah.
And then I'll check into the partners for World Health here and see what we can put on about that.
Mhm.
So before we go off this category, because this is really part of the rebranding too. We'll have a couple more handouts, when I get time to work on them, between all the grants. I may have a little, couple of days here. Town of Pittsfield recycling facts, this was always, well,
Yeah.
Like that.
yeah, and we could put something in the back too, so
Sure.
that we're using the paper properly. And we had these reuse tips, which were great. They have some of the items that you all have mentioned, but it's way too long and people are likely not gonna read it. It's 4 pages long. I would read it, you would read it, but not everybody.
Get
would.
excited.
Could it be
Yeah.
put online, Karen?
Pardon?
Could it be put online?
It was on, yeah.
It was.
It was online, a lot of items got taken off, I was told that we had too much on the website. And so, a committee got together and they took all the stuff off. And then we started getting complaints that we didn't have enough on the
I was
website.
just gonna say, I don't think you can have too much online these days.
Yeah, it was all archived, but they
Oh.
didn't think it was kind of, I sort of had everything from 20 years on there.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
I took off the old bids and things like
Yeah.
that, but items that I thought would be helpful in minutes we left on, but
Yeah.
we were told we were too cluttered, so now we're told we're not cluttered enough. So I will work on these 2 handouts for the next meeting, get them to you before the meeting, so you have like a week to look at it. So let's talk about this up recycling. Is that its formal name? It's called
Upcycle?
Upcycling, oh,
Upcycling?
I don't know where I got that term from, an Urban Dictionary or something, but, it's, yeah, or. I can't, I don't wanna paraphrase, cause it just,
That's okay.
was, how do you make use of this particular item? And I just plugged that in, and I don't know if I used Google or another search engine. And then it just gave me all sorts of referrals and, you
So
know,
it's
people
like-
also ask, you know, how do you use
So
plastic
it's
milk
like
bottles?
reusing things.
And I think I think you
Yeah.
can go to upcycle.com, I believe.
Okay.
I mean, you could try it, see.
I
That
was,
might be something new.
I was on a subscription, to a newsletter that this guy, I can't remember where he's from, but it just became so overwhelming. He was selling everything from culverts to giant, you know, ship hulls and things like that, and all these things that were just industrial.
Some people are living in those.
Over things, stock and things that industries were really looking at as waste.
Mhm, mhm.
But that's neither here nor there.
I'll look at that, because that might be something catchy that might get an interest in reuse of them that aren't interested in it now.
Well, and I was gonna mention too, because you just brought that up to getting people interested. Is there anything that we could do, like, I know years ago, we used to do a meeting with Tom Roberts or whatever and invite people to come out. I think in light of what's going on, I mean, tomorrow we're supposed to have 60-mile-an-hour winds again. Wind, rain, wind, rain, wind, rain. I mean, but that all leads up to what we're doing to prevent this, and is there maybe a way that we can educate, whether it's every 6 months, have a town meeting at the school or invite, it's just an idea. I mean, the kids are thirsty for the knowledge and they're getting a lot of it in school. So, you know, if they go home and talk to their parents and then their parents come to a meeting. and they
What
come in-
information are you talking about?
Well, just the recycling, everything, about all of it.
So we can do that, and that actually would lead us, on the agenda down to the climate action planning, and the grants and everything.
Right.
So I think we talked about the rebranding. I'll get you the materials again a week before the meeting, this time, along with the minutes. I had, like 20 grants, so I got kind of
Oh my
crazy there. I got a little bit crazy there. So now I've got a reduced number of big ones. So we've gone through what we're gonna do with our priority, which is education for everyone. So we can get our statistics up and help save the environment more, and our rebranding. We've done our reuse building update. The grants will come through probably in mid-May if we do receive it. If we don't, I was fortunate that I got access to the main directory of grants of nonprofits, which is very expensive, and the town would be unable to purchase it. I signed up for a training seminar that got canceled due to the weather, although I did try to get on it, and they gave us the password, so we had it for a day. So I spent all day until I got through the whole directory and got information on a lot of nonprofits that give out monies, foundations that give out monies for different projects. Now, a lot of them don't give money to governments,
Yeah,
governmental agencies.
It's
It's 501c3s, but some do for government. So I ran those all off, looking at categories like children, youth, recreation, community development, animals, and recycling type categories. So I've got a stack like this of the printouts, because if I don't print them out, then they're gone, I can't write it all out. So I'll have to recycle that later too. I'm good for the town recycling rate. So in any case, I'll go through all those, and we may have another opportunity to apply to another foundation. We applied to the AARP, for the, reuse building. And so there are other foundations in which we might qualify. And so I'm going through all those. We need to find monies for some community activities that we're holding. We don't have the budget for the 3 activities that we're looking at, which is like a cop camp, so the children can go to the camp and learn about police and public safety and everything during the summer. That's not too expensive. And they've got a couple of other activities, especially the festival that was held last September. We need to get donations for that. It brings in all the little houses that the kids jump in there. and, different festivals and everything, they're looking at bringing in like the, rides like they used to. Which some people like, so we're gonna have to get funds for all of this.
And then once these activities are playing, good advertising would be helpful. Last year, I lived near Manson Park, I go, what's going on in the park? I had no idea what was going on, I mean, I would have gone down and volunteered,
No,
I had no idea, like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, I agree, that was the first year of the event, and,
Yeah,
they were really rushed to do it.
yeah.
And there are people, like younger people think you just put it on Facebook and that's it, but it's not, you have to use all the
I
media.
like the sign in the grocery store or the,
Yeah, I know,
well, I think Danforth will still put the little flyer and
oh, sure.
there's no bags, so people bring their own bags.
Yeah, we have plenty of time this time. That was done very quickly. And so I didn't even know about it till a few days
Oh,
beforehand.
it's like, what's going on? Sounds like fun.
Yeah, they had good attendance from, young folks. I guess it went out
I
on
guess they
Facebook.
advertised, well, no, it was in the summer. It was September this school.
It was September. Yeah. So we need to come up with funding for a variety of items if possible. Now, I would say 85% of the foundations don't give money to governments, but that leaves 15% to look at. So we'll go in and write up the reuse building if we don't get the AARP challenge. And those are hard to get. They said last time 53% of the applications were approved at the amount or lower than what you asked for. So, you know, we got a 50-50 chance.
Take what we can get.
That is true. We may need to use several resources. And then on the reuse building, we talked about coming up with names of volunteers before we go to that climate grant. Volunteers that I can call, or Donnie can call, or you all can call, who we think might be interested in working in the reuse building, just so we can start that up, because we don't want the recycling committee to do it, get exhausted and not get the other
No.
projects done.
And it might not be, I mean, it could be not a conflict, but that it could end up like that, you know, people are, but. Yeah, and maybe, you know, enough people that could be recycled through, you know, a schedule, like you said, once a month working or whatever. And maybe getting it.
You wouldn't need more than 4 people there, Saturday.
Well, it's interesting. I used to go in and there'd be like 4 to 6 people, and sometimes you need to, and there are some people that kind of take advantage. I know there was,
Oh,
you know, I mean, you have, I mean, the whole idea is that it's free, but when you have a lot of something and you've got one person that comes in once at all, there were a few times where it was like, leave some for somebody else or whatever, but
And that's kind of guidelines, but it gets iffy. I mean, the whole thing is not
it's to
to
get,
keep it out of the dump. That's the main
well, and I
thing.
think a lot of the
So if
women that
someone
were
wants to come and
working,
take it off.
but I think
Mhm.
that the concern was that people were getting it and then selling it. And what are you gonna
And
do?
the other part of that is, who cares? It's
Right.
not in the
Oh,
dump.
yeah, no,
That's-
exactly.
You know, what are we here for? Well, that's not right. Are we being judgmental or just? The purpose
It's
is
tough
to
yeah.
save it.
Well, that's why extra people is sometimes helpful.
It's
just
more
to
like
be-
kind of guidelines have to be done,
Right.
but
Right,
and it has to
Exactly.
be consistent. And it can be tough.
Yeah, it's a fine line, definitely. So think about for the next meeting, people we can contact, or contact people in the interim, or give Donnie or I names of people, we can call them. And your contacts at the school, I'll contact Wausau, because that would be the principal, and the MCI.
mhm,
The teachers have changed so much since, 2020.
yeah,
So anyone you can think of that we should contact, let me know and I can contact them.
mhm, mhm.
So that would be good. So now we're to climate. So our next topic is climate action planning and some fall grant opportunities. And
I've
so-
noticed, EV chargers,
Mhm.
electric cars.
Catherine, is this the one you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there'll be 2 of them. One,
Oh,
the
this is
colored
the community.
document,
Mhm.
and then the community,
So,
partnership.
okay.
So basically, there's a new grant opportunity that started up last year from the state of Maine governor's office to look at the climate because of what was taking place. It became obvious we needed to start preparing ourselves, and we were behind in preparing ourselves for all these storms and all the climate change and all of the items that are taking place. And so there is a new program, community partnership from the governor's office, in which you would join this partnership, which is free, with the state of Maine. You could work with a provider like Kennebec Valley Council of Governments or another entity to fill out all the paperwork, or we can do it because we pretty much do know the answers to most of it, or would find out the rest of it from the community. So there are two documents that have to be filled out, which are in front of you, the community self-evaluation and the partnership list of community actions we're gonna take, which is a very colored document. And I ran that out in color. Usually we do everything in black and white, but in black and white, it was too hard to even focus on. So I know why they put the colors there, so you can keep the categories separate. So the first document is community self-evaluation. And in doing these documents, we join this effort, and then we're eligible to apply for grant funding. There is a $50,000 grant, which will be coming up, or 50,000 or less. 50,000 is the highest that you can apply for. That will be coming up, likely in November of this year. There was one, you had to sign up in February, and I had just started the grants, and it wasn't time to do a 4-month process here, which most towns do to qualify. To make sure you have enough community support and that the citizens know what's going on. It's online and they can send in information or their ideas. And there needs to be a forum that would be held either at the council meeting or your meeting, however we decide to do it. So once we join this, we can apply for the grant, and then there's a variety of items on the chart that you can apply for to do. Now, the obvious one on the chart, as mentioned by this evening, was the electric car. Obviously, we're not gonna do that one. That stands out, but they have a whole variety of actions and items that you can get for your community. And so we would figure out what was best for our community from going down through all the spreadsheets and everything. We're not gonna do it tonight, but to take it home and think about it. And then Donnie and I can fill out a lot of this and then have you correct it or add or subtract from it. But basically, we would find out, our self-evaluation is where we are now, dealing with climate issues. And the town actually, for about 12 years, was on I think it was called Cool Something Sites. We were signed up with emission requirements and have resolution from the mayor. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's one of the items that led to all this. The town was involved with a lot of efficiency items, applying for grants, purchasing items that the public could have to help with their homes. And we had a 12-year period with the recycling committee that really did everything else, that dealt with the beginnings before climate came so much in the forefront, and dealt with a lot of items doing with building renovations, going to the elderly and helping them with different items for weatherization. We got weatherization grants for the buildings and efficiency main lighting, proper lighting in the buildings and everything. So we sort of started this process, but then when the economy got bad, and with COVID, everything sort of stopped. So we're now starting up again, and everything seems to be opening up and getting back to the way it was, which is good. So think about these items. They want to know in this area, dealing with the climate, recycling and reuse and things like that. What are 2 things your community is doing well? What are 2 areas that could be improved upon in the short term? What are 2 items, or what is important in the long term? What specific 3 to 5 actions are priorities for your community? So there's a variety of items here. Donnie and I can suggest some items, and we can go over this at the next meeting, and then fill it out so we come to the conclusion. It talks about has your community assessed the likelihood of various types of hazards or disruptive events? Which we actually have with Hardwick County, hazard mitigation plan. And, that plan was adopted by the town and the county and went to the state. And that's how we get the FEMA funding
Mhm.
for, not only the community when there's damages, but for the public too, to apply. There is a process that's ongoing now with the county, because our plan ran out in April 2024 here, or actually April. Yeah, it ran out now, so they're redoing the whole thing, right now. And I believe they have a draft that's pretty good. It says, has your community assessed how the likelihood of each hazard has changed over time and may change in the future? And that's the trends, and we do have a lot of resources that we can go to, which I learned about on a very, boring FEMA, two FEMA, trainings here. That went on for hours, but they weren't actually boring, they were just long, and they were interesting, but, did take up a lot of time. But there are a lot of tools, and they gave us all the resources, all the exact emails to go in and find out the weather for every day for your town, so you can see exactly when all the storms took place. We're not out there writing down, there was 4 inches of rain, this day. You go on and you find the statistics. And so we have looked at, through that county plan, all these different items that are taking place. Before, all of our buildings wouldn't have had generators, but now the electricity goes out now, and it goes out for long periods of time. This never used to happen since the ice storm. So there's, a lot of facilities need generators that didn't have them before. We have an old 1960s generator that has died in the December storm.
Not good.
So
For this building or?
for this building, yeah,
Oh, 1960s, huh?
1960s.
Probably not fuel efficient either.
I don't think it was, no, the fire chief loved that thing, but it needs to go. And we're not starting it back up. It runs, but it shouldn't be.
No.
It only was set up for part of the police station, part of the fire station. I don't know why they did this. It has more capacity. And we have to run a cord over to the town office park to get electricity, so we're getting another new generator one way or another.
Good, get rid of it.
Recycle cycle.
Yeah, if
Metal, yeah, whatever.
Somebody
You know-
will use it, someday.
Did you have a?
It works.
Well, I'm just wondering, this is really comprehensive,
It
and I'm
is.
thinking, I'd like to just suggest that. Instead of you guys, doing all the work, what we could do is maybe have a meeting where we could go over this.
Mhm.
And highlight maybe what the priorities might be, and then like, you and Donnie come in on that too. We can all go home and
Yeah, we
do
can
it,
all go home and write down what we think that
Right.
it should be. Donnie and I'll do it too, and then we'll combine everything. Yeah, that's what I didn't express it well. That's what
no,
I
that's
was
all right,
thinking.
no.
I was getting started.
I was just thinking even as a separate entity, just to go over it all, because there's so much
Subcommittee
there,
kind of thing,
like a sub.
sub-meeting, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
sub-meeting.
can do this at our next meeting
okay,
and advertise that we're doing it.
okay.
So I think that would be good.
Sure.
You guys might be able to get a, deal on a generator that would power this whole place. And just a suggestion.
Mhm. No, but it's from the federal government, 75% is paid for, so we have to dig these things out, but. It's been sized properly, which is good, but there's a lot of FEMA paperwork and tools that need to be utilized to do this. Which we'll figure
I
out.
have a friend who worked for FEMA that does some of those long things. I don't know if she was, and she has come to me during our disaster and she does it. She's.
Interesting. The people that do this are really, really experienced. They do a magnificent job. The lady who was doing the training knew everything. But it's kind of ironic. They had changed the tool that we were supposed to use that was on the FEMA site where you figure out a lot of this, and it got changed and nobody knew that. So her computer was set up for the right tool, and we were all going on, and couldn't get in it. It took a while to figure this out. But we'll get it done. But there's a lot of questions like that. What are the impacts? What steps are we taking to reduce exposure to multiple risk types? And this is something that we definitely would need Donnie's input. And our fire chief too. He's the EMA director, and
Yeah.
Donnie's an EMA director in another town. But they're really experienced in this area. We know a lot of this too, but, they're experts. I talked about the flooding and the different types of disasters and which ones are we in good shape for, which ones are blind spots for us, and it is very comprehensive. I talked about what policies do we have in place, how do we recover after a disruptive event, and I'm wondering if we can get a copy of the new draft of the county plan. I'm gonna ask about that. That might be helpful too. It has all the categories listed. If it's like the old plan, it has all the categories listed, what we do. That would be very helpful. All right, so there's 17 questions, so we'll all have a homework assignment.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if you guys could get solar panels put up on top of the town office.
We actually have them. They're up there.
Oh, Catherine, was that Vaughn Woodward?
That was Vaughn, yeah.
Who in the area does that now? Do you know, just offhand? I know that they're supposedly really gaining in popularity because.
Yeah, there are several companies, we would have the names upstairs, there's a gentleman out on the, old Irwell Road in the other town, over the line. He's the closest one, but there are a number of people who do the heat pumps and.
Oh, right, right.
All kinds of things. So the second document we have to fill out, and both of these are ones that we would work on, but we'll need to have a public session and really hype it up so people would be interested and tell us what they think we should be doing. The second one has, for the partnership, has a whole variety of items. We choose the ones that we're going to do. So we have to do the other document first, but, the electric car is one that, skipped right out. We won't be doing that one. But there are other items on here. I'm just gonna read off the categories so the public will know, or anyone that tunes in. Accelerate the transition to electric vehicles. The second category is improve mobility and reduce vehicle miles traveled. It's always good because of the gas and everything. That's strategy A, and strategy B, it talks about modernizing mains buildings. Transition to cleaner heating and cooling and efficient appliances in municipal and tribal buildings. And they have categories of energy efficiency projects, such as heat pumps, LED lighting upgrades, water heaters, which are eligible for efficiency main incentives. And these items must be in a municipally, tribal, or publicly owned building. And the town has had the predecessor of these grants. We got several efficiency main grants, and we also had some big block efficiency grants when they had that program for a couple of years. We did winterization of most of the town buildings. Not that it doesn't need to, a bit needs to be done again. And so they also have advanced the design and construction of new buildings, all right, and that talks about adopting energy efficiency codes and different regulations and everything, training for our code enforcement officers. Strategy C is reduce emissions through clean energy innovations. It was cool cities. That's what we had for 12 years, and we did do some of the items. This is reduce greenhouse gas emissions, advance clean energy adoption, transition to clean energy. And so some of these talk about solar, wind, geothermal on properties. Now, some of these items would not work well, just because of the availability, but some would. Strategy D is to grow jobs and protect natural resource energies, and it talks about different policies and items. that can be done. Strategy E is protect the environment and promote natural climate solutions. And that's page 6 of 10. And it talks about watershed plans, conservation plans, conserving land. Oh, and then we'll talk about something after this, having this be. Protecting your shorelines and salt marsh mitigation areas, so things like that. Strategy area F is build healthier, resilient communities. And this is to do a community vulnerability assessment that identifies climate risks and vulnerable populations. Update the local hazard mitigation plan, which we're doing. Develop early warning systems and community evacuation plans. This is one that might be quite important. We talked internally about adding on to the town's website some sort of alert system so that we could send out by email or text to everybody when this.
Do those air sirens up at the top of our, town office work?
They haven't been used for many years, but they did work, yes.
What would we use them for?
When there's an emergency, like a big emergency, roads were flooded, a plane crashed in
Okay,
the
all
town,
right.
something really big.
We don't get tornadoes. Yeah, we're fortunate in that, though.
Yeah, we'd have
But
to,
obviously flooding is more.
yeah, it'd have to be a big thing, you know.
Yeah.
Do they still work?
It did work, yes. But it went off when it wasn't, somebody set it off. It did work.
Well, good, that's one way to test
At least we know it works still.
It did. That was a couple of years ago.
But would anybody know what it meant if it went off? It's education.
That's the education
Find
part.
out.
If we were ever
Find
going
out
to use
somehow.
that or another system, we would have to do education so people would know. And an example of how you might not know something, the town, when, in 2002, the airport was in very bad condition, and I arrived and the federal government arrived and said, you need to straighten this out. And so we did a lot of grants and got the runway all taken care of. But one of the grants was to take care of, the lighting system there, as well as the, sock, the windsock, and there were several other items. And so we had a grant, we went through and fixed everything. And then we didn't realize there was gonna be a light that went on.
Oh, yeah, the light.
Yeah, that light went on.
It's nothing, where is it? They
I
still
don't,
do- It went in my bedroom window, I know the light, it would go the bedroom window, it's like, okay, and then in the summer when it was hot and you wanted the windows open, it was like, yeah.
yeah, we didn't realize it was gonna be that intensive because we
Yeah.
hadn't had it for so long. We
They
should've told
don't use it
everybody.
anymore. Do they don't use that anymore, cause I haven't noticed it.
Yeah, I think that something may be amiss there.
And pull the plug, someone pull the plug, I won't tell you because it did go in my bedroom window.
Yeah, let me, talk to the town.
I haven't seen.
No.
I haven't
It was
seen
a visual,
It
it was a visual
I
navigation
forgot about the
point
these
for-
years.
Yes, that.
Usually I can see it
Yeah.
from where I live.
have to have
because it's
really
I was
helpful.
Installed.
I think you have to have this, is that-
And I just haven't
I don't think
seen
it's covered by
anything like
FAA.
I think
rotating.
it is. I think if you have an airport.
Yeah, it's supposed to, it's
supposed
supposed
to-
to planes coming in at night and everything.
Yeah.
And lots of times there is
Even those-
fog. Yeah.
You have to, it's an
I
airport.
think it's still there.
It's an airport.
Last time
It's still there. I thought it was working, but I will, thank you so much, Alex.
Oh, darn it.
I'm pretty
I just
sure,
realized it's been a long time.
I'm pretty
since I
sure
had
it's,
it.
I'm pretty sure it's still there. Last time I went, so
Okay.
friendly, Common Ground,
Maybe it's a different angle. No, it
Common
wasn't.
Ground Fair, I'm pretty sure I saw, pretty sure it's still there.
Easy to find out from, Mr. Ramsey.
So under the healthy and healthy communities, one of the categories is of course plan for the community for the vulnerabilities and addressing them and early warning system. Also reduce flood risk. And strengthen public health, and it talks about items like develop and implement an extreme temperatures emergency plan, including strategies that increase use of cooling centers by residents. And we did have an extremely hot couple of days last year that were dangerous for people who were homeless and others, so, this can happen.
In effect, the air quality is the biggest thing.
Yeah, air quality is huge, and that affects a lot of
And
people.
when we're getting the smoke from the fires from out west, yeah.
Yeah, this is true. Strategy Area G, invest in climate-ready infrastructure. Develop a capital investment plan that identifies vulnerable municipal facilities, prioritize improvements or new construction. And talk about climate hazards. And the other category is, under that, is utilize climate-ready standards, designs, and practices to improve infrastructure. And that is improve and protect drinking water, wastewater treatment, stormwater facilities to reduce physical damage and sustain function during extreme weather events. These are all very important categories. Our buildings are all older except for a couple. And yes, they should be protected, definitely. The roofs that come off and other things. I like to reuse the lift. And the last category is engage Maine people, which is very important. Establish or recognize an official committee of community stakeholders, create a climate change education outreach. And there's a whole variety of items there. Engage the business community. I think this would probably be one of our priorities. But you can see this is a huge project. That needs a lot of thought to think about. We don't have to do all of them, but we need to do a certain number of these items. So we'd have to figure out what we would recommend and get public input and everything. And that's what the public forum would be on, whether it would be at a council meeting or be at one of your meetings or another meeting. So this is a big project. Is it something the committee wants to undertake?
I think we have to.
I think we have to.
Yeah.
Establishing those priority concerns that stand out most to our weak spots, so.
Mhm.
Well, and it's just like dealing with the issue of the wind and the rain again, and like tomorrow, there's more damage. One of the questions that I wanted to ask Catherine, about like a lot of the trees that are coming down. It seemed, it's statewide. I was down in Portland yesterday. I could not believe the amount of damage. I had no idea that they had suffered.
It was
as much.
bad down there.
What, does the town still take down trees that are like within a certain amount of distance from? Only because with all of this happening, do we wait, like, we have a neighbor that has a tree with 5 trunks on it, that 2 of them come down, the next time it's gonna be, I mean, it's gonna be really dangerous. And there's so many trees in this town that are over 100 years old, over 100 feet high.
Mhm. Oh, I understand. They're all surrounding me and everybody
Right.
else.
Yeah.
So yes, we do, take down trees and have a regular program each year. The issue will be the cost and getting the contractors in. They're so busy that
Yeah.
sometimes you don't get enough bids or the bid is too
Mm.
high. There are so many trees that we could never cut everything we should because the town would be totally different looking
Right.
than it is now. We wouldn't have enough money to do that. The state does not cut their trees along their roads, so the town has to do those too. So each year, a certain number of trees are cut. And of course, if something happens during a storm, we take care of that. The town will cut down the trees we can, the smaller ones, but the ones by the wires and the huge ones need to be taken down by a contractor that's experienced. And so the process that the town's used over the years is Public Works crew will know from knowledge and put together a list. However, people will call in to put their tree on the list, but the list is very long usually.
And of course, the tree has to be, it's gonna knock down a power line.
It has to be something
Gonna
like
be
that,
hard.
or, intimate danger to
Yeah.
a house.
You know, like CMP comes and will trim every now and then, they'll just come into your yard and take down and we trim. We've been trying to convince CMP that we had a whole tree that would either fall on our house or fall on the power line, and for a while, CMP was saying, yeah, I think we could take it down, which, you know, it's a $2,000 thing, we paid for it, and they kept delaying and delaying, and we just paid $2,000 to take this tree down, but it would have taken power lines out too.
Well, I've also heard too that Sandy, they'd rather wait and have the damage. It's cheaper to clean it up.
Yeah.
I don't
I mean, they
understand that.
took huge limbs off our tree, they just came in the back and said, that one's gotta go, I'm like, oh, okay, and then
but that one's gotta go, okay, but,
But it's only gonna continue, I think it's only gonna continue to be a problem.
It is.
I mean, it's
I
obvious.
missed
from-
that tree where I live on that little, that one that was willow tree, but the a woodpecker killed it, put a big hole through it.
Yeah, that does happen. So CMP did come through hiring a company and they did do a lot of work about 10 years ago, which was very helpful, but we really, they haven't come back and as you know, they're struggling overall.
We spent over 3 years trying to, because one guy said, yes, we'll do it, and the year passed, and so we're busy now. When really 3 years we were working with them on that.
Everybody goes through that.
Yeah.
There's just so much in the infrastructure, all these trees are on the lines and it's sort of an out of control situation. And now they're coming down and then the costs are more, they're more to everybody in general. When the roads are out and like you don't have power and it's dangerous and everything in the winter. And I don't see it's gonna improve, unfortunately, so we gotta take whatever measures we can locally to help out. So you can see, this is a large project and a very good one.
Yeah,
And if, I'd say we have to do it, because if we don't do it, nobody's gonna do it. Yeah. This is the,
Well, the better we, the more we do, the better prepared we'll be.
yes, this is true. So, Donnie and I will work on this, you all will work on this, and we'll come back at our next meeting. With our ideas and everything, and then we'll figure out an action plan or a timeline so that we can get ready for the grant. And there is another grant that will be coming up in November, and that's the waste diversion one. And I'm not gonna go through the whole document here. But basically, we sent this out to the committee when we got it. And we only had a couple of weeks and there was no way to come up with a project that would be worth the amount of time that would be spent on it. And since it's a grant that goes up to $50,000, we figure if you're gonna do all this work and become a contractor and everything with their RFPs, you gotta do a big project. We looked at food waste, which is what we chose, but there was no way to get the information together in 2 weeks and do this properly. The other project we looked at was getting the backyard composters and holding a class, but the cost of that at the most was $5,000, and really, it shouldn't be through this grant. So the grant will be coming out, again, we've been told, there's a round 2, and you can see it says right here, round 1, so there will be a round 2. That would probably be in November, and that will give Donnie enough time to work on food waste and find out how we would do this, give you some ideas, whether we would get a unit and put it at the transfer station or someplace else, and people would bring items to it. Or we would get units at the schools or other locations that they could use.
Bigger facilities.
Bigger facilities, we get them. We'll have to figure that all out.
I know for myself, I think that we got our compost bin from the town, we paid for
Yes.
it many years ago.
Yes.
Right.
We did
Yeah.
purchase it. The problem is that it can't use it half the year because it's either covered in snow or the lid is frozen shut. So I have my compost season that I can actually use it. I think it's time to open up compost season.
Yeah, mine, I didn't put one of the posts in it, because I couldn't get it in the ground. And then the ground frogs took off with it. It's way out in the woods.
Mine, actually, all the tree roots have grown, it and they're gonna budge now. So a lot of times-
Yes.
A lot of times I can't even get my soil out because it's all.
Yeah, I bought one too, and we got the reduced rate, and we could, actually, as a project, if we got a little foundation grant, we could buy a bunch of those and give them away with, you had to take the class and everything. Or we could sell them again if people wanted them. It sort of died out because we got as many people as we could, and then the last one did, we had them for a while.
I think targeting the bigger, like, schools, restaurants, I don't know, even we have apartment areas or
Yes.
things like that where there's a central location.
people.
Yeah, I think that will be what we'll do. We'll have to figure out if it qualifies for the grant.
Yeah.
It's a complicated one. I was surprised at how complicated it was. But that's the way it goes. So let's talk about meeting schedule. Do we want a regular day each month? So that we can start inviting people to the meetings. So do these Thursdays at 6 work?
I put it on my calendar as an unending
Thank you.
appointment,
That would work.
but I know I have a terminal date, but this meeting doesn't.
I appreciate it. I did request the Thursdays as well.
Yeah,
Everybody's all set?
yeah, I
Works.
don't have a problem with it.
Do you want one in July and August or take off a month here or just list them down and we'll go from
We
there?
we can just kind of schedule it and see, take it out as it goes, maybe
Okay.
once we ask.
All right, we'll do that. That way we can publicize this and then
Right.
contact the schools and try to get some representatives here, even if they're students. This recycling committee for a while had students that were involved and
Mhm.
they were extremely active.
That would be great.
They're the ones that are gonna be
Yeah.
taking on this whole
Yeah,
project,
it's-
you know.
All right, we'll go for Thursday, which Thursday of the month do we want? This is the second, and does that work good for everybody?
That's,
On the third or?
again, for me, it's okay.
Okay,
I think it's that.
Yeah, any Thursday is good for me.
all right, we'll go for the second Thursday of each month at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Okay.
It's May 9th is the next meeting.
Yeah,
All right, great, so that means the next meeting will be
May 9th.
May 9th.
Okay.
Oh, excellent, well, very good meeting, thank you, your ideas are great. So I only got a little late, sorry, but, I wanted to wait for Dawn, but it gave me time to read over things too, so.
sure.
All right.
Yeah, it's gonna be important.
Is adjourned at 7:48. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to turn off the citizen.
Yeah, I think all you do is just
Yeah.
exit out of Zoom and it should be fine.
Yep, there should be a little button down here.
Yep.
All right,
Or I think you have to do it via the mouse pad.
by the mouse pad?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, I'm going down.
yep, and
Then tap or double tap.
you have to be on,
Hi, Rick, we're right.
you have to be right on that.
Or it's the first name.
Yeah, I'm right on there.
And you should be able to just press onto it.
You didn't get that, this is, I think, from last year.
Okay,
I kept it from 2020, not last year, but
Just
2017 or something.